Hi guys, and as usual, welcome to another kit review. Okay, so today, what are we looking at? Today we're looking at one of these. Okay, it is from Tamiya. It is the Heinkel He-162 A-2 Salamander Volksjager. Okay, this kit number is 61097. It was issued by Tamiya in 2006. Okay, and as you can probably see, this one is still wrapped in the plastic. Really happy with buying this one. I've always had an eye out for it, but in Australia they run from anywhere from $40 to $60 plus postage. This one cost me $27 plus $10 postage, so small saving, but really happy with that one. Okay, so really nice. Anyone who knows this particular kit knows that it is quite unique in the way it's done, because you actually get a full engine which can be displayed on a trolley, or you can actually display it with the clamshell access doors open on top of the aircraft itself, and there are poly caps which allow you to swap that around anytime you want to. It's a really nice move by Tamiya. Okay, so let's have a look. You've got two Volksjager in flight, of course. These were late war, had no effect on the outcome of the war, and were introduced way too late. Of course, everyone knows about that one. Let's have a look at the rest of the box. So, standard Tamiya, you get a side view and top down and underneath view of the aircraft itself. Brief history in Japanese, and on the other side, again, this time side view displaying the engine open, the cockpit open. Okay, so this is a really nice way to, if you want to, you could quite easily display this kit exactly like it shows you there, and a photo of the engine. The only thing you'd probably have to do is maybe add a little bit more wiring to that engine on its trolley. Okay, and that is the box. So let's open her up. Don't worry, I didn't have to do that, it was already done. So give me a second and I'll get rid of that. Okay, plastic's all gone. So let's have a look and see what I actually bought for my 27 bucks. Standard Tamiya, always Tamiya, good quality, well packed. Okay, stapled shut so you don't have to cut them open, and makes it much easier. As you can see, this first screw out is the fuselage, okay, and the wings. Okay, these are your next two screws out. They are literally the clamshell engine and nozzles, etc., and wheels. Next screw out, and literally there's 4 screws in here, is your engine. So this is a small aircraft, quite nicely done, but a lot of nice detail from Tamiya. That's your transport trolley for the engine. Okay, really nice detail, and you do get a pilot figure for this one too. Okay, and that is it. You do get something a lot of manufacturers don't include. This is a ball bearing that goes in the nose, right, to make sure that this isn't a tail dragger. I wish all manufacturers would do that for their jets. And of course your decal sheet and your instruction sheet. We'll have a look at that shortly. And what I do love about Tamiya and other manufacturers, but Tamiya especially, this is a 48th scale print of the actual aircraft, camouflage, decals, etc. And that is always a nice inclusion with the kit. And that's it. So in a second, we'll have a look at the instructions. We'll have another look at the painting and markings and the decals, and carry on from there. Okay, so let's have a look at the instructions. Standard Tamiya. Photo of the actual kit. This one has the engine on display on the trolley. Okay, brief history of the aircraft in English, German, French and Japanese. What we also get with this kit is this sheet. Okay, it's in Japanese and English, so I'm not sure when this kit was available in Europe whether they had a German-French version, but this is a complete detailed history of the development of the aircraft, the jet engine, the fact that it has an ejector seat. So only 4 German aircraft at the end of World War II had ejector seats. There was this one, the He-162. There was the Heinkel He-219. There was the Heinkel 280, which only went to prototype stage. It had engine problems, etc., so it was dropped. And the Dornier DO335. But all 4 aircraft had ejector seats, which is quite astounding. What also is astounding is the fact that the Messerschmitt 262 didn't have an ejector seat. I think they may have trialed it in 1 or 2, but normally the pilot, all he had to do was just pop the canopy and jump. Okay, and that's really nice. It's comprehensive with full specifications of the history of this particular unusual aircraft. I do like that. Okay, so let's carry on and have a look at the instructions. Usual precautions, warnings, color callouts always in Tamiya. Alright, recommended tools, and then you start immediately on the trolley because you will need that finished and ready to go for the engine. And then we get on to the really nicely detailed cockpit with the ejector seat, okay, padding, color callouts throughout, of course, undercarriage, alright, same again, color callouts, nice detail. Here the undercarriage is actually being fitted to a separate part. This part with the bulkheads actually gets inserted into the fuselage. And yes, if you wanted to, you can have this with wheels up, so you could skip this specific part altogether if you wanted to. Next, you've got your painting of the cockpit interior, okay, fitting of the parts you've already created. That's fairly straightforward. This section here shows you where the undercarriage gets fitted into the fuselage. That is your ball bearing weight. It goes behind the cockpit to ensure that this is not a tail dragger. This particular bit here, you go, well, what is that? That goes in the top here. This is how you can swap the engines from an open engine covers to a normal. Okay, all right, that's a really great option. I do love that. Here's your tail going on. This part here, and I'll move it over here, though it doesn't tell you what it is, these are your main undercarriage doors. So if you want to, you can have that. Don't cut that, and you'll have your undercarriage up. It does show you to cut along those lines because it is literally a 3-part for the main undercarriage. So you have to be careful when you cut that out. Okay, and then you go to putting the wings together. The wings and the tail go on. You've already got the undercarriage on. Okay, this is your instrument panel going in, and then you get to this part, and this is the section that you just cut, which is that one there. These are your undercarriage doors, okay, and the center section between. All right, so if you wanted to, you could skip the undercarriage and have this one in flight. That would be an easy one. Overleaf, you get to engine. So this is the engine nozzles, etc. with the engine complete. You do have polycaps that go on here. So this is the whole engine section where you can't see the engine, just the nozzles. And then you get to actually building the really nicely detailed with color callouts, the whole thing. The only thing this would probably need would be maybe a little bit of additional wiring. Okay, so you have a choice then of actually putting this inside the engine cowling or mounting it, or just displaying it, I should say, on the trolley. And then overleaf, it just shows you putting the cockpit on, all right, mounting the full engine, all right, and you can have the cockpit open or closed if you want to. Tells you how to paint the pilot, and this shows you how to have the clamshell access doors open so you can see the engine on top of the aircraft, and you can swap that anytime because it has polycaps. Pop it on, pop it off, depending on how you feel on the day. Personally, I would probably just have the engine mounted on the trolley and display both at the same time, and then you get to painting and marking. So this one here is just overall standard painting for the 162. This is for Oberleutnant Emil Dimuth, May 1945. Then you've got painting for Lieutenant Rudolf Schmidt, May 1945, and painting for Lieutenant Gerhard Hunt, same again, May 1945. Okay, really nice, very comprehensive decals for this aircraft, really nicely done, and the paint scheme is pretty much standard late war Luftwaffe. Okay, but of course they also give you this, as I said, 1/48 scale, okay, paint, markings, etc. for your Heinkel 162. Okay, side views, and also top and bottom views of the aircraft and painting. So that makes it really nice as far as knowing how to paint this aircraft up. And it's always good for a manufacturer to put these in with their kits. Makes it much easier to decide how you're going to paint it. Okay, and that is the instructions and the paperwork. So let's have a look at, actually I might show you these. So you can't quite see them, but that's the metal pins and the polycaps that help you put the engines off and on, okay, and the large steel, quite heavy ball bearing, which will make sure that this isn't a tail dragger, and of course these. Okay, here is your decal sheet. It does have swastikas for those living in Germany, please be aware. Really comprehensive, all the markings, okay, that were on a 162. You can see all the warning labels. Yes, it does have pilots' seatbelts as a decal, the unit insignia, names, etc. Okay, really nicely done, as usual for a Tamiya kit. They're beautifully done. I do like those, and they will come out really well. And yes, they did have the red arrows, this way arrow on the things. I always thought that was curious, but I guess pointy end goes first. Okay, I'll give you a shot of those anyway, so you can have a really good look. But that's the decals and the instruction sheet. In a second, we'll have a look at the sprues. Okay, so let's have a look at the sprues. So first one out we'll look at is the fuselage and the wings. Okay, so you can see both fuselage halves. You got your tail, your main wings. Okay, these are your interior parts and bulkheads, etc. So let's have a look, see how she fares up. This is being a Tamiya kit. I don't see any dramas with this. Okay, some really nice panel detail. Okay, the wings were plywood, so they don't have panel detail on them. Yes, I do believe one of the first demonstration flights, I think it was even in front of Hitler, the wings delaminated and the test pilot was killed, but they still went ahead and built this aircraft anyway. So it was cheap, easy construction, plywood and whatever cheap materials they could use on this aircraft. Okay, so no panel lines on the wings, right? Fairly straightforward, easy paint, basic panel lines on the bodywork. Okay, let's have a look at the inside of the cockpit. and there are some ribbing details, and yes, there are some instrument details. Okay, so they'll have to be painted up, but you will be able to see them. It is a nice big cockpit, quite open. Okay, so that's standard Tamiya quality. There's no flash, no major sink marks, and it does look pretty good to me. So speaking of the cockpit, let's have a look. There she is. There's your clear parts. Okay, gun sight, canopy, really nice. And as you can see, it is a big canopy, so the detail in the cockpit is a definite. All right, you will be able to see almost everything in that cockpit. All right, so I do like that. That's really nice and clean. So next we will have a look at, and literally including the cockpit sprue, there are 5 sprues in this kit. Alright, so what you've got here is your engine, pilot, ejector seat, and all the cockpit details and undercarriage. There is your pilot. Whether you use him or not, he's quite nice detailed. Bit of cleanup along the mold lines, but apart from that, no dramas. Undercarriage details, really nice. Okay, that's your transport trolley parts in the corners there, and that is your engine, basic engine. Alright, there are a lot of parts that go on that, and yeah, bit of detailing, bit of wiring, that will come up really nicely. Okay, so as I said, there's only 5 sprues in this kit. It is quite a simple, easy kit. I wouldn't have any hesitation in saying beginners would love this kit. Alright, it's a Tamiya kit. I don't see a problem with beginners doing any Tamiya kits actually, because they're built to be made by everyone. Okay, so the next 2 sprues are exactly the same. Right, so I'll put one aside and we'll have a look at this one. So these are the clamshell doors for the engine, okay, and the engine nozzles that you'll see with the engine put together, really nicely done. There's one of your main wheels, undercarriage. Okay, you do get 2 of these because these are duplicated sprues. That is your undercarriage, main undercarriage doors. Okay, so you do get 2. So if you do stuff it up cutting it, and look, the cutting lines are well defined, but if you do stuff it up, you do at least get a second chance. All right, so that's a really good thing to see. Okay, and that, guys, is it. That's all there is to this kit. It's quite a small, comprehensive kit, but a nice little aircraft to have in your collection. Again, there's literally only 5 sprues in this. Very simple construction. Tamiya kit, really, unless you try hard, you can't go wrong with the Tamiya kit. So yeah, that brings us to the end of this one. That is Tamiya's Heinkel He-162 Salamander, okay, in 1/48 scale. The kit number is 61097. Came out in 2006. Still readily available. As I said, this one cost me 27 bucks Australian, plus $10 postage. They normally retail between 40 and 60 in Australia, so not expensive, but if you can pick up a cheaper one, alright, like this, go for it. Anyway, as again, brings us to the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Hope you got something from it. Thanks for your likes and your subscriptions and your comments. Much appreciated. And as always, guys, until next time, take it easy, stay safe, stay well, and I will see you later.